Hi there, my name is Tony O, and I'm going to talk us through what it feels like and looks like to kind of really get started with the ongoing daily routines for early learners. First, I wanted to start off with the space. We're going to do big picture and then we're going to back it up from there. If I were going to organize that bulletin board space, these are some of the considerations of things that you could include because you can also make it your own. So starting over here on the left, you have strips provided in the calendar of each month. This is typically how our rooms have set it up, where we're not moving the month for the special strip. We're just putting a star or some kind of icon over to what month it is. And also notice they're plain because we want kids to just have the discrete information without like the distraction of a lot of cartoons and things. Moving from the top down, today's mathematician, just like using your cute bulletin board materials or on a, printed off the computer, you can add that up there. And it just allows more opportunities to talk about somebody's name and really giving them the ownership that they're the ones who is the mathematician of the day. Then the attendance also is just another sheet that can be organized a couple of ways. I've seen it done with Velcro where we're just moving numbers. I've seen it with sticky notes where it's just the chart that is stapled on the bulletin board. And a new sticky note goes for how many students are present and how many are absent, or even clear pocket charts where you're just sliding, the numerals in. Then down below, a simple chart can be used for the routine here of your schedule. And this is an example, the number name collection of our own district initiative where we were trying to really build number sense for these routines leading into kindergarten. And so one number is picked a day that whoever is the mathematician would have to decide how to represent that quantity. So if the number was 5, maybe they would choose to draw a picture or represent it on a tin frame or a number bond. So that's just giving them lots of repeated opportunities to decompose the quantity and build the relationship of the numbers. Then we have the weather wheel and a place to keep track of that. Then what you'll be adding on 1 week at a time is going to be the strips provided in the calendar that allows you to be able to see your school days and your home days. Now, the way that this is set up is the example from the teacher edition where you're going to do all of the school days up front and then the 2 home days. And you can see that the pattern is very simple. We are not doing A-B patterns. We're keeping it just the apple for September, or you could pick any icon really. But the whole goal is that the focus is totally on the digits. And so as you build this, students start to see, oh my gosh, every time there's a 2, it always follows a 3. And you can even feel this becomes like a number line. And this is that rich opportunity to build the magnitude of number. And that's the goal, especially looking so much like a number line. Repeated experiences like this over time allow students to have a frame of reference, like building the benchmark numbers, like to 10. You can even do some cool stuff where, you put a marker on the 5 spot and a marker on the 10 spot. If you wanted to kind of start building in some fun things like that, you certainly can. But the goal of the student is going to tell you that today's a school day, that number is the number 14. And as you're working to model that learning for students in the first month or so, it's a routine, honestly, that you can start to hand over right away for that gradual release of responsibility. So that's basically one way that your calendar quote area could look. And we can't forget those special events. You can either tag on like the birthday or field trip icons, or you can even kind of have them hang down underneath. It's totally up to you. So I want to do a quick check about the materials just to make sure that you found everything you need and their purpose. So you're going to have all of the strips ready to go. Oh, that should say event trackers. You're going to have your special icons that you can stack for marking, someone's birthday and counting back and forward, as well as all of the months that are provided down below. These are the blank icon templates that you can use for each seasonal month. The spinner is ready to go, as well as your chart for your weather. And then just a couple of considerations, like where in your space these materials are going to go. So just trying to remember that you have each of these to build. So where could it go where students can still reach and be able to engage in the calendar without having to climb up on a stool or something? And then just reminding you to measure it out to leave enough space to build over time and keeping it that linear way. Part of that season change with the month here that we have, we're leaving September and we're moving into October. It's a really cool thing to have kids help you dismantle the calendar. So that's part of the math block that day. So on the first, which you can see over here, part of what it looks like to dismantle it would be either having the mathematician of the day help you, or you could call on student kids like a formative assessment really, and be like, okay, Isaac, would you like to find any number that you know? Or Tony, can you find a number that has a 2 in it? Or how about find a number that's on a home day or a school day? And then up here in the corner, the way we mark where today is at is what you're gonna have right here on Today is Friday. In the teacher edition, they actually show you like with a clothespin clip. And you can do that. I just made it into a sentence that it's like hot glued on there, that you can move it every single day, and it's dry erase. So then you're gonna change it to Monday for Monday. And so having that space to build, to take it apart and put it back together again is part of the exciting part for students. The schedule itself, we ended up making one color for each day of the week. It just makes it really easy. And so they're already programmed that today is Wednesday. We have music with Mr. Smith. And having the icon or the picture of the teacher makes it really nice because they're learning their names too. Now, that's one way you can do it. But then, like I mentioned, you can also do it with a pocket chart or something like that. But we just found it was really easy to have it already pre-made and then just have the kid pull out today's special schedule. The attendance here, and you can see that there's multiple ways to collect if students are at school or not. Some people do hot and cold, like for lunches if they're all day pre-K. Using the 10 frames is another great opportunity to work with part total. So you can have one color of the 10 frames be or the counters be yellow, sometimes they're red. So you can have that represent boys and girls, and then you see that total there for students. We also have lots of opportunities to build in as the year grows. You can do things like around survey type things. But a lot of teachers, since we did use handwriting without tears, they would have them sign in at the start of school, like with the strokes of the handwriting without tears. So for 1 week, they're working on the horizontal line, and then the next week, the diagonal. And so the students would actually have something very similar to like a 10 frame where they were keeping track, of those strokes, or on a PowerPoint slide. And so when you're thinking about using something like on a smartboard screen, the students it can grow over time as well, because you could maybe just start with their pictures first where they drag that, and then maybe the beginning letter of their name or their full name. And so there are a lot of ways to integrate other skills alongside. And the attendance chart that you see here is an example of one that we used in kindergarten, actually, where they counted hot and cold lunches. And then they had to create a number sentence of how many students are at school. Organization is key because kids need to be able to touch the stuff, especially once you release it over to them. So if I am 4 years old, I'm going to walk over to that calendar tab and I'm going to have the card to decide if it's a school day or home day and everything that I need right inside that tub, including a dry erase marker. Here's another cute little folder. I found these on Amazon for my math games. They're very inexpensive and they do a great job since they're clear like that. But you can use baggies or anything to organize those materials. And here's the job chart list for the mathematicians. One consideration is, do you want to have one student that's new each day to maybe do all of the jobs? Like they're gonna come in, they're gonna do what today's date is, they're going to turn the weather wheel, and then maybe they're gonna add on to the number of the week. And so you have that opportunity to do one student, all jobs, or maybe you have multiple students do the jobs for the entire week. And there's really not a right or wrong. It's really more about what do the students need to build their confidence, and maybe doing the jobs for a week helps you with that gradual release of responsibility as we're trying to build that autonomy for them. And the supports that you see here, like on the little clipboard, this is where once you've decided your pattern for that you could mark out the exact order of what the kids have to do in order to be successful for the routines themselves. And it doesn't have to be a clipboard, but just some type of little master list that's going to help them remember what they do first and second and so on. This is just a big image of the number name collection that I'll share with you, but of course you don't have to use it because it is an added routine. And then this is something I know we talked about in one of our sessions, collecting how many days we've been in school. That's a very engaging and exciting activity to count to the 100th day of school. And so I just wanted to share this example about how it really does help even build the fluencies for pre-K and kindergarten to 5. And although these numbers are much bigger than we would expect mastery for, what is really awesome is that we're constantly helping them work in units. So they can see that empty tin frame down here. And then my questions are going to be a little bit more about how many more would we need to have a full tin frame? And so then they would count 4. So what we know about that is 1 and 4 is 5, 5 and 5 is 10. So you're really building in some of that language that they get comfortable with. But it's a beautiful way to really show numbers. So I hope that was a helpful getting started. I'm excited to hear what questions you might have after this video clip.